Welcome to another edition of The Silver Fox. Spawning in the top left corner, playing with the red Terran pieces, we have the real Quaid. Spawning in the bottom right corner, playing with the blue Terran pieces, we have Cruiser. This was a fast-paced, quick game, very much in the style I like. Long drawn-out games I find myself having little or less patience for these days. Both of us have nearly identical builds going into the beginning stages of the match. I've been playing with Triple Rax Reaper as a harass tactic. I don't think this is one of my quickest executions, but I wanted to watch and see how it looked. Do a quick SCV scout as he takes his natural with one supply depot. I pulled an extra worker to wall off because I didn't want to let him scout my extra barracks, because then he would know that the Reapers were coming. At least that's what my thought process was. It turns out that on Acid Plant, it doesn't really matter because this is the only location where you can jump into somebody's base. So as long as they put something there, Reapers pretty much don't work. So I saw that he had his SCV here and that he was going to attempt to hang out as long as he possibly could to gather whatever information he could get. But it's important that I keep building buildings, even though I have my 3 racks and I'm getting my Reapers, because if this doesn't work, then I can transition a lot easier than if I were to just say sit on these 3 racks as and keep making Reapers. I think it's just the fear inside of me doesn't want to commit to something like that's that cheese. Even though Reaper aggression, heavy Reaper aggression in the beginning is can be considered heavy cheese. I think as long as I'm not building these racks like, you know, proxy here or something like that, then it's not too bad. My opponent is opting for the more traditional 1-1-1 text tree structure, which is great because, you know, that's allows you to get out every kind of unit that you want at the very beginning. The problem is that if you're not consistently producing out of this tree structure can really slow you down as far as the number of units that are combat ready that you can have out. So I have my 5 Reapers. I produced a Marine so that I knew that this is the only place I could jump down from this base, so I had to get that SCV out of here if he were to believe that I were not coming with Reapers right now. So as this Marine slowly kills this SCV, we head into closer, or ready to hatch my plan. A move here, but the problem is that I didn't really think about it until I got there that this is the only place I can jump in. So like I said before, if you have any kind of force sitting right here, there's not much that a Reaper's going to be able to do. Similarly, if you build something here like a bunker or barracks, something early, there's not much that a Reaper can jump up onto. So I scanned him. So I knew that he had a bunch of Marines and medevacs. But I thought I'm just going to come in here and do as much as I can anyway. It takes him a while to respawn. I don't think he believed what he saw. Marines shoo me away. Some pretty poor micro. Probably got a few more kills there. That's okay. Because I'm back here transitioning into what I think will be a better build. I did make a mistake and I did not build a starport very quickly, so that was an oversight on my part. If you build a bunch of Marines, you're definitely going to want to have medevacs out. It's almost impossible to play without them, because the Marines are so fragile. But now that I have a few tanks out, I'm starting to feel a little bit better, like there's not an imminent counterattack coming. I saw what he had. He had enough production to get something going, and it looks like he's making Thors. It's not a bad idea to make Thors early. Well, I guess we're entering the mid game now, but the earlier that you can get a tier 3 unit, tier 1 being a Marine, tier 2 being something like a tank, and tier 3 being something like a Thor. If you get a tier 3 unit out early in the game, you can catch your opponent off guard, and this is a pretty good move. The main drawback of a Thor, though, as we all know, is that they do not move very fast. So I know right now that he has Thors, medevacs, and Marines with Marauders. So I ring my base with turrets because I don't want to get dropped on. Well, not with a force like that. I would need to keep my entire force up in my base in order to keep it safe. That's a sizable drop. If you would have moved out right then before I scanned and dropped on me, I probably would have lost this game. But I got lucky and I scanned right where everyone rallies all their troops on this base. This big sidewalk. Natural's not saturated, but I got fairly decent defense. I think I decided to add a few more turrets up here later because that's a very nice landing for people to drop on as well. See that he's thinking about it. Now he sees all my turret rings, so he knows that he's going to be facing heavy fire coming in with any kind of drop like this. It's riskier, let's just say. Plus I sieged up a tank in here, so that whatever would drop would at least take a tank blast immediately. Supply blocked. But not for long. I guess I'm not supply blocked, but I'm thinking ahead. I don't want to become supply blocked. I think I built my buildings in a little funky position. Tanks, they have the hardest time getting around any kind of awkward building geometry. And here comes the drop. He picked probably the worst location that he could to drop on me. I'm not really sure why he did this. I think he got dissuaded by the turrets. So he decided to, I don't know, drop where all of my army is sitting, as well as where the tanks are sitting. I mean, the drop had no prayer. That was absolutely crazy. And with that, I think that he has nothing, so time to go kick his ass. I've made my fair share of mistakes, right-clicking units into death traps essentially, but to scan the front of a base to see all of the units sitting there and then to go ahead and drop on it almost makes me think like he's never done this before. That was Especially a bunker. I mean, that's... No, I mean, you're just adding HP to all your Marines. It's crazy. So I'm assuming that his production isn't too great anymore. There's also rally units, places where you shouldn't. See, this is where I made a mistake. I don't have any medevacs to come out, so I immediately start adding on starports and making medevacs, but there's just nothing here. These Thors are great units to attack with, but you have to have a few, and you can't your opponent can't have a bunch of tanks waiting for them. They fire too slow, they move too slow, and they'll just get taken out. They can even be just taken out by regular Marines. These Marines have +1/+1, but still. And then it's just a matter of moving my tanks forward. And there's not much my opponent's going to be able to do. If anything, he should have made more tanks as soon as he saw mine. But that's not what he did. Instead, he built more Thors. And queued up as many Marines as he possibly could. I can't fault him for that. But Marines will just come out 2 by 2 and get annihilated. And so will the Thors. Especially if they're unupgraded. And my opponent taps out. And that's how you don't drop in a Starcraft game. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and click like if you liked this video. And I will see you in the next one.